multiple questions, so we have plenty for you. So I think we'll just get right into the questions. Okay. Hey, by the way, it is warm here in Alaska. We know you Texas folks are frying. Well, we're warm too, and the humidity. We kind of miss the coolness of Alberta and the Rockies. Yeah. So first question was from Kara Spierling, and she is a fellow Avion owner. Yay, Kara. Question she had: is there anything that we would have brought with us that we didn't? So now, like, are we realizing, oh, jeepers, we definitely should have brought XYZ with us, and we've had to go out and buy it? Can you think of anything, Kevin?
No.
I think we brought a lot of stuff that we haven't used yet, that we anticipated we were going to use. Keep in mind, when we left New York, upstate New York, on May 1st, we were going full time. So we left nothing in New York State. Everything we own is on these four wheels of the Pewter Palace, our 1987 Avion 32S model, and our truck. So we were going to be traveling for 7 months. We are going to be wintering this winter in Benson, Arizona. But we had, we literally were carrying everything on our backs. So we had to prepare for all types of weather. The first couple weeks we were on the road, it was cold. We were running our furnace. When we did have hookups, we were using our pedestal electric heater, which, by the way, get one if you don't have one already, because why run your LP when you can use the campground's electricity? But as far as things that we didn't think to bring, that we wish we had, Kara, we're going to have to get back to you on that. Maybe in a couple more weeks, maybe something will crop up. But right now, I think we've spent a lot of time planning this trip.
Yes, we did.
A lot of hours, hundreds of hours probably, watching other YouTubers in their preparation, going through books, going through periodicals, planning guides on going to Alaska, and I think we did pretty well for what we can fit. Avions, we love them dearly, but the storage is a challenge compared to, we see these big motorhomes and fifth wheels with all this under bay storage, and yikes. So far, that's our answer for that one. Another question: did your coach, our Avion, again, 1987 Avion, seem protected enough from road conditions, rocks, bumps, dips, all that? I'm going to let Kevin take a lead on this answer.
Yes. With our rock tamer mounted mud flaps mounted on the back of the truck, and the front material we put on to the front of the trailer to protect any rock chips and stuff. And
also known as a bra.
Yeah. And it's protected. It's no problems whatsoever with any chips.
Yeah. We have noticed some very, very tiny chips in our rock guard. So obviously some things did get up high enough. Honestly, again, kind of a call out, shout out for going earlier in the season. Not too early. Don't cross into Alaska, really even British Columbia, before June 1st, really. Because there's a lot of stuff that's closed. The weather is really cold. Don't go to Glacier in May. Nothing will be, the roads won't be open and things like that. What we found, I think, going this early is the roads, even the dirt /gravel, you can get both, they're in really good shape. Top of the World was in
very good shape.
Very good shape. Very little washboard, a couple of little spots, maybe for literally 20 feet, maybe. But nothing like your teeth were chattering out of your mouth for a mile.
But so the rock guard and all that worked out very well. So
yeah,
no issues with that.
I think, as Kevin said, I think it is important. We do have that rock tamer mounted on the back of our truck with these big, heavy rubber mud flaps that hang down. I think that helps a lot. Certainly the bra that we had made, we did it in a double thickness. Happy to share that information with you more. I'll do a blog post on that at some point, but that certainly gave us a lot more peace of mind, and it protects that front a lot. Okay, where do you wish you could visit again? Not that we're going to wish, we are going to visit again.
Yes.
We're going to definitely do Banff and parts of Alberta and British Columbia again. We do go through British Columbia on the kind of the west side of it on our way back down, but there were things there because we were on a certain time schedule to get to Alaska with our escapee club hangouts and things. We didn't get to experience all the things in the Banff area, especially, and we just loved it. And hopefully, you all saw our pictures of our campsite there at Tunnel Mountain Village too. We were looking right at the Rockies, and it was just amazing. And other question from Peg Huckel, who's a friend of ours, fellow reenactor in New York State. Hey Peg, hope you see this video. Hope the sailing's going good. And what's your plan of attack for mosquitoes? Okay, so we commented the first probably 6 weeks of our trip, 0 bugs, no bugs, nothing. We got to Alaska, still not too bad. We were pleasantly surprised. Dawson City, top of the world, was like nothing. I mean, you're on top of mountains, so I think the wind velocity, they can't stay up there. But when we got into the Fairbanks area, we noticed a difference, and we went to stay at Elisan Air Force Base, a FAM camp, military camp that we can stay at. It was in the woods, and it had water on one side of it. It was on Bear Lake. The mosquitoes were the size of bears. They were huge. They were, no kidding, the size of a nickel. And swarms. They were like attacking our truck even as we were driving in. It was like a zombie apocalypse. They were like hitting the windows of the truck saying, let me in, I want to eat you. So that was really bad. How do we tackle the mosquito? And we knew from all reports, mosquitoes are bad in Alaska. Locals are even saying that this year is particularly bad. I'm not quite sure what that is from, but we trust them. So we have a couple of things. Kevin's favorite.
Yep.
When I broke these out when we were at the Air Force Base, Kevin was like, oh, this is perfect. And he was like Obi-Wan Kenobi, just with his lightsaber thing, because they do have a light on them. Kevin can demonstrate that better than me. He's really good at it. And they literally zap these things. What we like about them for inside the camper is that you can just kind of like walk through the camper and just have it on. You don't have to like zero in like a fly swatter and like find the thing, you know. The good news is, because they are the size of a nickel, they're very slow and they're easy to spot. But these work super well. Highly recommend them. And I think I have them linked out on our Amazon shop, and if it's not our shop, it's our list of favorite things. But if I don't, I will do that. We did also get, based on the Alaska Original, RV to Alaska Original Facebook group that we belong to, that we joined, one of these bug zappers. Now this is a nice one because it's solar. It's also rechargeable with a USB. Simple. This hasn't worked too good. And our theory is because it doesn't get dark. You need dark for the for the mosquitoes to be attracted to, and you know, the lights up blue, looks great. I don't think we've got one in here. It never gets really dark enough. Right now it's getting the sun rises at 3 a.m. and it sets at like almost 1 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, I'm not going to waste my energy having this thing going. The other thing, which we've been using for years now, are the thermocell. We have a lantern and we have the handheld. Handheld can also clip onto a backpack or, you know, onto a front or belt
It
loop
clips
or
on
something like that.
multiple places.
Clips on places. These work really well, and they work well for Alaska mosquitoes, so use those. And in fact, when I was getting ready to talk about, preparing and what were you bringing, I got the hefty 300 count,
300 hours.
300 hours of Thermacell refills, because I figured if I get them that way from Amazon in the lower 48 before we leave, it's going to be a lot cheaper than buying up here. Alaska is expensive. It is. So keep that in mind. Get some of this gear before you
come
leave.
up north.
Otherwise, they know they got you because you've just been, inundated with mosquitoes, and you're going to pay whatever you have to pay. And then I use the Skintastic natural spray, and it's really worked pretty well. So there you go, Peg. That's how we're fighting the mosquitoes, multiple ways. And then from Susan Vonderheid. Now, Susan is in Kentucky. She actually adopted our Avion swivel rocker chair when we were down in Kentucky last year. We made room for some other things in our Avion, and she could use it in one of hers. And so she had a question, which I think most people have a burning desire to know. What are our costs to do a trip like this? First of all, remember that we are full-time, okay? So we're not paying a mortgage. We're not paying a rent somewhere that we're going to go back to. We have a seasonal site for a few months in Arizona over the winter, and that's it. So, and also, we have a gas truck, and we are doing these 3-week-long, one in June, one in July, one in August, escapee hangouts with one of our RV clubs. So our numbers are going to vary a bit from many of you. And we traveled from New York State. But what we're finding when I'm doing, and I am tracking every receipt, everything from, the typical gas, groceries, camping fees to what we call recreation. In other words, if we buy a ticket to go to an attraction or on a boat cruise or something like that. Health and beauty aids, all that kind of stuff. We're tracking it all. So at the end of this trip, we will be able to give you a very good idea. And I'm going to get back to that in a minute. But right now, based on our first 9 weeks of travel, we are averaging $200 a day. That may seem like a lot when you go, oh my God, $6,000 in a month, holy mackerel. But bear in mind, if you were traveling in a car, you would still have gas expense. You would still have some groceries. I would think you'd be buying snacks and sodas and things like that. You would be eating out 3 meals a day, or at least 2 meals a day. We, in our travel of 8-9 weeks, we have eaten breakfast out twice. That's it. So we always eat breakfast on board. We enjoy that. I enjoy making breakfast, and we take our time and relax. The hotels, if you were traveling by car, we saw everything from ramshackled, I wouldn't stay there if you paid me, hotels advertising $70 to $75 a night. So anything you would want to stay in, I'm talking Alberta, British Columbia, and now in Alaska, you're looking at anywhere between $100 to $200 on up, depending on how fancy you want to get, for a hotel room. So they are not cheap. Even though this might be wilderness, they're not cheap.
No, they're extremely expensive for what you're going to get.
Right. And they know it because they have a very short season. They have a lot of people traveling, and so they're going to get bang for buck as best they can. So our $200 a day is cheap if you were traveling by car.
Yeah.
Because you'd still have the gas expense.
And out of that 200, majority of it's gas.
Yes.
Because we're getting 8 miles a gallon.
Right.
And you're traveling anywhere from 120 to 200, 250 miles a day, depends on where you're going.
Yeah.
So that adds up real quick.
Right.
And your food is your food. You're going to pay maybe 25% more to 35% more on items in different places. But again, you're going to be eating anyways.
Right.
And
right.
I have my own bed, my own sheets, my own pillow.
Our clothes are.
Our clothes.
We're not leaving. We're not leaving a cookie crumb trail of stuff we forgot in hotel rooms, or sleeping on questionable beds and uncomfortable pillows and stuff. So, yes, obviously we're slanted towards the RV side of travel. Yeah. That's why we have our Avion. But if you look at it, $200 a day, I think most people going on vacation, whether they go to Cancun, whether they go to San Francisco,
But you break it down, it's only $100 a person.
Right. Right.
There you go.
So we actually feel we're doing very well. Now, here's the flip side too, is that once we finish Alaska and we go through British Columbia, we will start using our 1,000 Trails membership campgrounds. From the minute we get to the Washington BC border, our first 1,000 Trails is in British Columbia.
Yes.
And then that's like September 2nd or 3rd. And we are in 1,000 Trails campgrounds booked out now to early November. So all of September, all of October, and it will be all of November, we will have 0 camping fees. Now, granted, we paid for our 1,000. We bought a secondhand one 4 years ago, and so again, I'm going to say that our travel expenses are going to be quite different at the end of the trip because we won't have those camping expenses. So you'll have to. I'll put some caveats when I do a post about our budgeting and things like that. I will put some caveats in there so you can understand how, if you want to kind of formulate your own expectations, you'll know what it is. And again, we've been staying at quite a lot of campgrounds. You don't need to do that, especially if you have a smaller Avion or a smaller RV, Class B, smaller Class C. There is tons of places.
It's your tolerance for how much blood do you want to lose to mosquitoes. Just saying.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Yeah. Or, if the weather has been bad and it gets really rainy and stuff, some of those turn-offs and BLM land stuff can get pretty sticky, can get pretty bad. So, you have to gauge that. But just thought we'd go over that.
Question.
Yeah. And I think those were the questions that came in. And we appreciate those questions. We will be off-grid. We are going to be going on Tuesday. We leave for Denali National Park.
Yep.
And we will be there for about 4 days. And then traveling down to Talkeetna. We're going to do a flight seeing trip on July 1st, Saturday, July 1st. Go all around the mountains and hopefully see Denali. And then we will still be off grid for a couple more days before we get down to Seward, or to Anchorage, excuse me.
There you go.
So stay tuned. We'll be in Anchorage over 4th of July weekend, so we should have signal then. If you send us things, don't be surprised if we can't get back to you until then. We appreciate you.